You just took everybody. That's a good thing I first.
Okay, who else? Passion. Yes. Inspire. So inspired. Or inspirational. Empowered. I like that one. Yes.
Pillar.
Pillar?
Yes.
Sincerity. Who else? Yes. Celebrate? Yes.
Accountable.
Accountable. Yeah. Gardener. In the back? Yeah. Yeah. We've got selflessness, compassion, passion, inspire, empowered, pillared, sincerity, celebrate, accountable, and gardener. Trust? Test. I can't hear. Humble.
Integrity is another. Integrity.
We got humble and integrity. What else? In the very back. Transparency. You're making me have to spell all these big long words. Who else? Communication.
Patience.
Patience.
Yeah, I need a little more of that.
Okay, one more.
Drive.
What is it? Listener. Okay, one more, okay. So look at that list. Nowhere on there do you see perfect makeup. Nowhere on there do you see sales experience. Nowhere on there do you see business degree. You're talking about compassion, you're talking about passion, you're talking about authenticity, right? Okay, so I want to talk to you about a couple steps, and some of these are things that you have brought up already, a couple steps that I think are really important in building yourself as a leader and learning to build leaders on your team. So step one is you're building yourself. You cannot be a successful leader for your team if you are not strong in your own business. And that means personal development. That means you're leading by example. So you look around and there's these purple and black status leaders up here. They're still working their business every day. They're still selling. They're still sponsoring. You have to. Our comp plan is designed so that you can't get to the top and sit back and do nothing and still make money. And if you don't like that, You can call Mr. Maxfield and complain to him about it, but that's how he designed our company so that we would be different from other direct sales companies, so you don't have people who are just sitting at the top making money. Personal development is a huge, huge thing for me, and my team is really heavy in this because I think, what we do is hard. This is a hard business. You have to hear no a lot. You have to be able to grow a thick skin. I posted on my business page a couple months ago, and I boosted a post overseas when we were launching in new markets, and I had somebody say, "Oh, look, this girl is an example of how not to wear makeup." So, 2 years ago, that would have devastated me. But you learn in this business to kind of toughen up, to know that that's going to be part of it, and it makes you tougher, it makes you stronger, you move forward. Attraction marketing, those of you may have seen, I've done some videos on attraction marketing. This is a really, really important way to build your own business and build yourself, because if you're going to build leaders, you have to have people coming to you that want to be leaders on your team, right? So all of those things, if you're struggling, the first thing I always suggest to my team if they're struggling to grow a team is go back to basics. Look at what you're doing for your own business first, because that's where it starts. Okay, second step is you want to identify the people who are on your downline that are going to be leaders. So what you're doing is you're studying your back office. An hour a day, if you need to. Study that back office. Look for people who are new and motivated. Look for people who maybe came really close to a promotion last month and just missed out. Anybody in here promoted last month? Any promotions? Anybody in here that came really close to a promotion last month? Yeah. February, right? This is your month. So, those are the people that you want to start reaching out to first. Those are the people, unfortunately, you will learn that the people who take up the most of your time are not always the people who are going to be most productive in your business. So what you want to do is you want to look for those people who really want it, who are really working for it, and work with them. As you grow, as you promote, your time is your most valuable resource. So allocate your time carefully. One of my elites on my team, she read a book called The Best Yes, and one of the things that was her big takeaway that became my big takeaway is every time you say yes to something in your business, you're saying no to something else. And that might be something in your personal life, it might be someone else in your business that needs your attention, it might be growing your own business. So every time you're saying yes to something, you need to be asking yourself whether the no that you're giving up for that is worth your time. Okay, and third step, what I talked to you about was creating that culture of leadership on your team. And one of the most important ways you can do that is through authenticity. So there's two steps to this, as I see it. It's being authentic yourself as a leader, and it's giving your team permission to be authentic themselves. I'll tell you a story that's not really easy for me to tell. A little over a year ago, I became a single mother, and that was not something that I spoke publicly about until very recently, and it's still not something I really speak publicly about, on social media, because we talk about happy stuff, right? And that's not happy. I had a former coworker and a friend that I had been trying to sponsor for a long time. And she would call me and she'd say, hey, I want to do this, let's meet up. I'll buy a mascara from you and we can talk about the business. So I met with her 3 times. Once for a drink, once for coffee, and once for lunch. And every time she bought a mascara, and every time she said, okay, I'm going to go home and I'm going to sign up. And she never did. The 3rd time, I finally said, here, just take the mascara, go home and sign up. I will. My sister's going to sign up too. She never did. And each time we would sit and we would catch up, and she would say, oh, how's your family? How's your husband? How is your daughter? And I'd say, oh, it's great, because I didn't want to talk about it. And I would ask her the same questions, and she would give me the same responses. And about a month ago, she posted something on Facebook that caused me to reach out to her, and I learned that she's been divorced for over a year. And she didn't want to say anything to me, just like I didn't want to say anything to her. And I'm sitting here wondering, why have I met with this person 3 times, and she's told me every time that she's going to sign up, and nothing's happening? Because I wasn't being real with her, and she wasn't being real with me either. We weren't getting past that surface level, so I didn't have that authentic experience. It's the same thing with the people on your team. You know, Bree talked earlier about Amber Voigt. Like, who knows who Amber Voigt is, right? None of you are ever going to be Amber Voigt. That doesn't mean that you're not going to be as successful as Amber. I think a lot of you probably will. But Amber became as successful as she was because she does Amber. She's not trying to be like anybody else. She stands out, right? If I got up here and I tried to do Amber Voigt, it would fail miserably, because that's not me. So you have to look at how you can be the most authentic version of you, even if you have leaders that you want to model your business after, and you should, you don't want to model yourself after that person. So, you know, I have my little Kung Fu Panda quote. I took my daughter to see it a couple weeks ago and cried at the end. She laughed, I cried. And that was one of the great quotes that he said at the end, and I think it's really, really relevant in our business, is I don't have to teach you how to be me. I need to teach you how to be you. And it's the same, there's another quote I really like, I've shared with my team a lot. You must understand there's more than one path to the top of the mountain. It's the same thing. Everybody's story is different. I mean, you've heard from several leaders today that get up, and none of us had that same experience. None of us took the same amount of time to get to where we got. Every single one of us started with a $99 kit and a white status charm and 0 PRS and 0 people on our team. Everybody starts the same way. Okay. All right, now that we've identified those potential leaders on our team, how do we help them get there? So the first part is you empower them. Is there anybody who wants to guess what part 2 and 3 are? No?
Could it be
Not
validate?
even for a prize?
Validate? And uplift?
You said validate. And uplift? Okay, so first thing we do is we empower them. How do we do that? One of the great things, I was talking to one of my Purple Status presenters, asking her for some tips, and she's really, really good in this category. And she told me that one of the things she always does with her team is when she sees someone who's an up-and-coming leader, she reaches out to them and asks them, hey, what's your biggest fear in this business? What are you most afraid of? You know, for a lot of people it's posting videos. For you hear a lot of people say it's talking to strangers, and it's going to be different for everyone you talk to. And so they talk about what their fear is, and then she gives them a challenge that's directly related to that fear. And they go out, and once they come back and they've accomplished it, she said they have such a great sense of empowerment that they then feel like, oh, these floodgates have been opened. Like I was telling you, once I finally sponsored someone who started to do well, you have that sense of empowerment where you can then start to move forward in your business. So you give them that tool to feel stronger. Okay, next one, we uplift them. So I passed out some sheets at the beginning. I don't know if they've made their way all the way back or not. But uplifting them, we're literally teaching them how to promote. And one of the great ways that you can do that is through mapping. Did anybody take Carly Reeves' class at convention last year? Yeah, and she talked about mapping and promotion. So we're gonna go through like a very, very cursory view of it right now. Okay, so you have those sheets. I also have, and I'll post it in the Facebook page, I have a PDF version of what I passed around in color. So if you want to take that, you can post that on your team pages, you can share it, and you can actually fill that out online too. Okay, so we are going to just briefly talk about how to map. So you have Gretchen, and Gretchen is a presenter on your team who wants to get to green. So she needs her $10,000 in wholesale. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit down with Gretchen, and you're going to look at her first line and her second line, however far down you need to go. So, okay, what does Gretchen need to do to get to green this month? I always tell my future leaders when they're going for green that they want to aim for 3,000 PRS, because the month you hit green, for a lot of people, a lot of leaders will tell you the month that they hit green is their highest PRS month. It was for me, I know it was for a lot of leaders in the team. So you say, okay, for you, 3,000 PRS. Now, Gretchen has Brenda on her team, and Brenda's trying to get to blue. You see what I'm doing here? So Brenda needs 4,000, right? And Gretchen also has Patty, and Patty's trying to get to pink. So Patty needs 2,000. And then the rest of her team that's going to be, white and yellow status presenters are going to need to make up that extra 1,000. And there she has her green. So you sit down, and then you teach Gretchen that what she's going to do is she's going to go to Brenda, and she's going to go to Patty, and they're going to do the exact same thing with their team. Okay, how do I get my 4,000? How do I get my 2,000? And then you map out those goals for them. But it's not enough just to create a goal, right? Because, sure, I could sit here and say, okay, Yesenia, go sell $3,000 next month. Great, we'd all love to do that, right? But you have to create a plan for them. So you're studying the back office, you're looking at those up and coming leaders. When you're reaching out to people, you're reaching out to those people who came really close to promotion or are promoting quickly or are those rock star sellers. Then you have to validate them. And that's what's going to give, Brianna and I were talking before I got up here, and she said, what's your topic? And I told her, I'm going to talk about building leaders. And, we both kind of discussed how you can't build a leader. You can't take someone and say, okay, you're going to be a leader now. What you can do is you can nurture that person. You can show them that they have the ability to be a leader that they already had, but maybe didn't believe it. So you're going to validate them. And there's 3 big ways that I do this. And that's connecting with them, creating a sense of accountability, and belief. Okay, so connecting with them. What makes them tick? What's their love language? It's going to be different for everyone, right? Some people are in this for the money. Some people will tell you, like, hey, I signed up because I want to make a lot of money. Some people are doing this because they want to have a sense of self again. Some people are doing this because they like coming to events like this, and they like developing friendships, and they like getting to take trips. So you find out what their why is, you find out what's important to them, what's going to motivate them. For someone it's going to be the cruise, for someone else it's going to be that charm when they get the promotion. And you're making that connection, like you want to actually really take the time to get to know these people, especially as you promote. You're going to be spending a lot of time with the other people who are promoting with you. So it's worth it to take the time and develop those relationships. I had someone pretty far down, a new elite that's pretty far down on my team, that came to me, and I had pretty bad postpartum depression with my daughter. And that wasn't something that I spoke about until I started with Unique. And it was scary. I made the first video about that, and I posted it, and then I sat at home and cringed because it's hard to share something like that with the world. And I had someone that reached out to me, and she said, I just really want to thank you for that video, because I had horrible postpartum depression after my second child, and Unique and having this business that was mine was what really made me feel like me again and feel like I could do something. And I had this instant connection with someone who otherwise may have been somewhat lost in my downline that now has become a very close friend of mine. You want to look for people. I like to always ask my leaders, like, how can I recognize you? What's the way that makes you feel like you're being most recognized? I had one girl who told me, well, I'm like a puppy dog. I just want you to tell me that I'm cute and tell me I'm doing a good job. So I do. I'll get up and I'll send her a message. I'm like, hey, I just want to see you. You had an awesome day yesterday. Good job. And that's all she needs. And I think the most important thing in that regard is just to listen, because your customers, your presenters, your hostesses, people will tell you exactly what they want out of this business. You just have to listen. Okay, so next step is accountability. And this is making them come to you. you can't do too much hand-holding in this business, and especially as you grow, there's just not enough time in the day to do it. And so, you know, it seems counterintuitive, right? You make them grow by leaving them alone. But you're teaching them a valuable resource when you make them come to you, because they need to learn to be self-sufficient. My sponsor is amazing, amazing, amazing. She's a Black status leader, Carrie Knapp. She's one of my best friends. When I signed up, I was like, okay, Carrie, what do I do now? And she said, start at the 10-day party and go sell some mascara. And that was my new presenter training. And that was the best gift that she could have ever given me, because I had to educate myself. I had to take the initiative to watch those videos, to learn how this works, to connect with other people. If she had held my hand the whole way through, I probably would have sat back and let her hold my hand the whole way through, and I wouldn't be standing here right now. And then the last and most important thing is belief. And so what I'll do at the beginning of every month is I go through my back office, I look at those people who almost had that promotion, or I look at those people who are going for their next big promotion, or I look at that new leader who might still be white status, but did $900 in sales in her first week. And I send them a message and I say, hey, this is the month you're gonna hit pink. Or hey, you're gonna be the one that earns the 25,000 points and gets on the cruise. Or you're going to be, I have a girl who's running for Black this month and she doesn't think she can hit it. And so I posted on like 3 different group pages and said, Fiona's gonna hit Black this month. Because when she sees that I have that belief in her, she's gonna start to have that too. And I can't tell you how many times I've had people come back to me after they did it, after they got the cruise, after they got the promotion, and say, you know, I didn't really think I could do it, but Kai reached out and said I was gonna do it and that I could, and that made me start believing that I could do it. You know, the month that I hit green, it was the 28th of the month, I hit on the 30th, and I thought there was no chance in hell that I was gonna hit green that month. And that was when my sponsor reached out and said, okay, you're hitting green. We're doing whatever we have to do. We're doing what it takes. You're gonna hit green this month, and I did. You know, at the very beginning, there was a quote I had given Kim that was next to my picture, and I said, every single person that you look up to in this business at one point was exactly where you are right now. Every single Black status presenter started as a white status presenter, and every single one of them heard no. They had parties that had 0 sales. They had people that told them they didn't want to join their team. They had people that said, this girl's an example of how not to wear makeup. And the only difference is that they kept going through the no's. So if you get enough no's in anything, you're eventually gonna get to that yes. So that's about all I have for you. I'm gonna do a couple little, I think we have a couple more little giveaways. And I know we wanted to acknowledge all the color status in the room. So do we have any white status presenters here? Can you stand up if you're white?